Hello and welcome. My name is Jess B and this is my tech department. Now today I'm going to be looking at an Apple computer that only existed for 6 months. And yet, like the iMac before it, it seemed to reinvent what we thought the desktop computer could be. So come with me back to the 1990s as we take a look at Apple's blue and white Power Mac. If you used a computer in the 1990s, one color comes to mind: beige. Beige was everywhere, from the PC to the Amiga to the Mac itself, and for Apple, this was beginning to be a problem. Machines weren't selling, and they looked old. Then came the Apple iMac G3, and well, things began to change. The iMac was a huge success, but in the office space, the current G3 Quadro machines were looking old. Most were still using the case design from the Mac 7100 from 1994. But change was coming. Released in 1999, the Power Mac changed everything. Redesigned from the ground up, there was a new motherboard, a new redesigned G3 processor, and a great case that proved you can have both form and function. With one pull of a lever, the side would open and offer unparalleled access to the internals, making upgrading these machines simple. There were other things too. Like the iMac, the new blue and white had no floppy drive, instead offering a built-in CD drive and an optional iOmega zip drive for large portable storage. The newfangled FireWire ports arrived on the blue and white, along with USB support. This would be the last Apple machine, however, to feature the ADB or Apple Desktop Bus connector, allowing for the use of older keyboards and peripherals. Of course, Apple being Apple, some things weren't that great. The new G3 processor ran slower than its replacement, despite running at the same 300 MHz and having an increased system bus speed compared to the old G3 desktop. Apple had cut the amount of on-chip cache in half, slowing the whole thing down. A bump from 300 MHz to 350 MHz helped, and before the end of its life, it would see another increase to 400 MHz. I'm lucky enough to own two of these machines, both of which need attention. Today though, I'm looking at Gustav Uns. Now I bought Gustav Uns along with another G4 Power Mac called, wait for it, Gustav Svar. And yeah, this is only funny to Austrians. For just €25. They were retired from a print shop and destined for e-waste, but instead I thought I'd give them a home here in the tech department. The G4 is in full working order and awaiting a good cleaning and restoration, but for Gustav Uns here, well, he's in need of a new hard drive. The fitted drive has given up the ghost and is just clicking away doing nothing. Hopefully I'll have something here to replace the old 6GB IDE drive, but first though, I need to strip Gustav down and clean, so los geht's. So let's begin the disassembly process by unplugging all the plugs on the motherboard. This will test how easy it is to work on these Apple machines compared to their modern counterparts. So far so good, the plugs come out easily enough and everything is within easy reach. A 56K dial-up modem was an optional extra for the blue and white, and Gustav here has one, so we have to disconnect it before we take the motherboard out. Then it's on to the screws before everything can be lifted away. Simple. With the PCI cards out of the way, it's just a matter of lift and separate. Next, we remove the plastic latch mechanism. This is done by removing 4 screws and the plastic piece just lifts out. Then we have to take away the 2 screws that hold the latch on. Moving to the outside of the case, taking the first plastic cover off should be fairly simple. Just remove these 4 screws. Finally, to remove the plastic cover, we have to gently move those 2 clips and the whole cover falls away. And yeah, you're probably likely to break them, but I got lucky. Time for the front to be removed, and this is just a few plastic clips, and yeah, it kind of comes away fairly easily, revealing we have a Plex writer in there. Well, look at Gustav. To remove the drives, it's simply take out these 2 screws. Really, there's nothing on this computer you can't tackle with a Phillips screwdriver. Disconnect the cables from behind and the drive sled will simply slide out. Now it's time to get that fan out, and it looks filthy. Removing it is actually a lot less complicated than you think. It's just 2 screws. Remove these and then the shroud should pull away nicely. Be careful when you are moving it because the fan will still be connected. Follow the lead up and you should find a little plug. Release it and all should be well. Assuming it releases. There it goes. The fan is, well, it's filthy. It's going to need a lot of cleaning. But with it out of the way, we now have access to these tabs, which we'll need later to release the back panel. Moving to the top, we need to take the handles off, which is, again, fairly easy done. And all you'll need is a small Allen bit or Allen key, and the handles just lift away. With the handles gone, the panel slides back and off. Oh, look at the trapped dirt underneath there. Ugh. Finally, I have to take out the power supply. And this could be a little tricky as it's a tight fit and oh, can you see the dust in there? Ugh. Anyway, it's held in by a screw on the side. And for some reason I felt the need to remove both, which didn't make much sense, but okay, that's fine. Then, to release it, we need to undo the 3 hexagonal bolts on the back, which is fairly simple. Now let's pop off the front. That's nice and easy, just a few clips, and it should just come away. Again, be careful because these things can be a little brittle with age. Once removed, we can get hold of the speaker and the power board or the power button board, which should just unclip and move away. To remove the power board, then we just unplug all the various plugs at the back. Along with the speaker, we can remove and then start on the process of removing that power supply. It'll take a little finagling, but you can get that thing moved and out, more or less. One last set of things to do now. I have to remove the underside drive tray, which is holding all the wiring, which is a lovely design. Just flip the case on its back, take out the 2 screws, there you go, and that allows us access to all the cabling and everything else that's there so we can clean it. Ugh. There's such a lot of dust in here. So this seemed like a good opportunity to take a before and after shot. Here you can see Curly on the left, whilst Gustav is very naked on the right. With the strip down complete, let's start the cleaning montage. So let's begin with a little anti-back spray and a cloth. It's important to get into all the nooks and crannies, and on this case there are many nooks and or crannies to get into. Now for the plastics, I'm using some environmentally friendly window cleaner, which is great for cleaning up the plastics. And this machine has a lot of plastic on it. Lots and lots of plastic. I'm not gonna lie, the inside of this drive caddy was filthy. Absolutely filthy. And then it's time to get onto this fan. Releasing it from the case is as easy as taking out the 4 screws, and then just getting some wet wipes and anything else I could get in there to clean the blades and hopefully save the fan for another 20 years. Finally, it's time to look at the power supply. I'm not going to dismantle it. There is some really bad stuff in there I don't want to deal with today, but I can get this anti-static brush into the vents and get as much of this dirt and grime out as possible. Well, I think we can all agree that was one filthy computer, but fortunately Gustav has been cleaned and preened and is almost ready for business. Now, as the parts go back in, we do have to take care of that hard drive issue, which was, well, broken. Fortunately, replacing it is fairly simple. With Gustav all cleaned up and put back together, it's time to tackle the hard drive. As it happens, I actually have a proper period-accurate 6GB hard drive to replace the broken hard drive with. All I've got to do is remove the caddy and replace the drive, which should be simple. The drives themselves are just held in by 4 screws, in fact actually 2 screws on this one on the back, so removing those is fairly quick and simple. Once the last screw comes out, the drive caddy just lifts away. Now, in case you're wondering, this is a separate drive because my other G3 also needed a drive replacement, so I took the opportunity to film both. Fitting the new caddy is nice and simple. Place it over the hard drive, put the 2 screws back in, and that's it, you're done. Actually, it's kind of easy. Refitting the new drive is as simple as dropping it into the right bay, getting a screw, finding you have the wrong screw. You can omit this step if you want to. Get the right screw, tighten it, and that's it. It's just 1 screw to hold the entire drive in, and it works a treat. And it's so easy to do because these machines allow you such unprecedented access to the whole inside that this is such a simple job. So with the machine done, let's take a look at the fruits of our labor, and wow, I couldn't think of a better way to display it than with all the peripherals and this beautiful studio monitor. Of course, the main question is, will it switch on? After all, it's been taken apart, cleaned, and everything else, so will it actually chime? Well, let's see if we get a chime. Yes! The new hard drive is definitely working, and it already contains OS 9.2. I'll need to archive the data and reinstall the OS at some point, as OS 9 doesn't allow for language switching. So, if I want to work in English, I'm going to need to install OS 9 in English. The blue and white G3 didn't stick around for long. Introduced in January 1999, it was discontinued at the end of August that year. The new G4 processor was arriving, and the blue and white case was repurposed for the new machine. Whilst the design remained the same, the blue and white was replaced with a more muted business look of graphite and smoked glass effect. The iMac G3 carried on the colourful cases for a few more years before the all-encompassing clinical white took over. And there we are. Gustav is back together and looking pretty sharp if I do say so myself. Pairing him with the blue and white monitor and the blue and white keyboard and even that awful blue and white hockey puck mouse was really cool. And now that he has a new hard drive, there's years of service ahead of him, and I'm really looking forward to diving in and exploring OS 9.2. Apple for me were never really as cool as they were back in 1999, which is a shame. And it's not that I didn't really like the all-white aesthetic of the mid-2000s, but there was something about that colourful computer craze of the late 90s that just stood so far apart from the beige boxes that we'd all come to know and these days love. All that's left for me to do is to thank you for watching. If you can, please remember to give this video a like. It really helps out. Also consider subscribing, because I do this nonsense quite a lot, and there are a lot of machines behind me that need work and a little love and attention. In the meantime, I hope you have a great day. Thanks for watching, and take care.